Hi there, everybody. Welcome to the astrology and the numerology for July 8th, 2020. If you add all those numbers together, you get the number 19, and if you add the 1 and the 9 together, you get the number 10. So the 10 is the number of power and radiance and boldness and courage and dynamic movement forward. So this is one of those days where we get to step in, step up, shift, and see which way we can move the energy. So, how do we shift in such a way that kindness and compassion is required, taught, expected, and demanded? Clearly, right now, there are so many on an edge that it will take very little to set off some of the tenuous edge, some that are on a tenuous edge of their self-control. Love and compassion are choices in the face of hate and those who perceive themselves better than others. We all feel the same feelings, the same fears, the same hurts, the same grief, the same loss. Without considering the needs of others, you live in a bubble that extremely limits your experience and limits your ability to discover that love is inclusive, not exclusive. There is a temperament in the world happening that makes everyone feel as if they need to take their power back. But the problem is much bigger than the narrow irritations that humanity wants to focus that frustration upon. The issues are very large right now in the world, and while that massive and overwhelming understanding is beyond our personal control, some then want to lash out at something smaller that they believe they can and have the right to control. But often those things are displaced projections and also not appropriate, and therefore also not fulfilling. Take a look to see if you are fighting windmills, thinking that they are knights out to get you. Then pull yourself back into a rational world, one that you can navigate one moment at a time slowly and carefully. Right now, because of these circumstances, everyone needs to choose their words and actions carefully. Too many are on an edge. Too many are looking for an excuse to unload their frustrations and anger. There is power within when you can see clearly what is happening and where some are on a ride that they do not know how to get off. Unconsciousness never leads to personal power. Consciousness gives you the chance to cultivate actions that build confidence, clarity, and self-esteem. Okay, the astrology today. Mercury-Mars square early in the day can make some people take rash actions that are not well thought through and are actually very ill-advised. Premature action that is not carefully considered for future consequences of those actions is dangerous and frightening. The mental agitation is very strong today. Things are reaching a breaking point. People are fed up and exhausted from holding so much in. The moon is in Aquarius until the early afternoon. Then the moon goes into the emotionally sensitive energy of Pisces. The process of this astrology concerns me because it is stirring a very hot pot of boiling oil, and the moons want to move from intellectual righteousness and rebellion, the moon in Aquarius, into the emotionally overactive side of the moon in Pisces. This, combined with many other astrological factors, is just the right kind of trigger to set some things in motion that will be very hard to stop. Do your very best over the next week to be sensitive and giving to as many people as you can and walk away when challenged. Too many people are looking for a fight. Forgiveness is the key to calmness right now. You do not need to understand what is at the root of everyone's personal dysfunction. You can only deal with the issues that present right in front of you at any moment. Okay, so my quote for today. Unconsciousness never leads to personal power. Consciousness gives you the chance to cultivate actions that build confidence, clarity, self-esteem, and positive karmic options for your evolution. Okay, my blog for today. I have to admit, being very worried about the immediate future that is unfolding in our world. And the temperature of this world is heating up to a dangerous level, and it is as if the heating up from climate change is also heating up the emotional intensity in individuals. Things are beginning to boil over, and I do mean just beginning. What comes next is something that I am not sure any of us have ever witnessed. Pray for calm minds that can step in at those critical moments, because clearly we do not have the leadership at this time to be the moral compass needed for our world right now. I have been seeing this pattern unfolding for a decade and wondering what this would manifest as. I do not feel the temperament of this, I do not just feel the temperament of this country, but also the dysfunction that is rampant in world leaderships across the globe. I also feel that there is a sense of a global disaster coming from within China that is unprecedented in its scope. And I feel so much is intentionally being hidden as the cracks are being formed in the walls that have been used to keep the truth from being revealed. Something is coming, and it is something that impacts all of us, not just a few of us. I pray that I am wrong, but I know that I am not wrong. Everyone is feeling what I am feeling. I might be better at putting it into words, but I know that everyone can feel what is happening. Each responds in their own way to the pieces that impact you on a personal level, but there is so much more happening than any one person can completely comprehend. I know that part of the reason I am here is to warn and remind that to be awake is painful and necessary. You cannot sleep through the storm that is wailing and screaming, not just in your mind, but literally in the many voices of the suffering. You are watching a civilization beginning to collapse. It is happening more rapidly than I expected it could, but it is collapsing. Take care of yourself, those you love. Family and friends are everything. Never forget the love. Never take love for granted. Thanks, everyone.